In this video, I'll share with you repotting secrets that people don't usually talk about. These secrets are what I've discovered through the months that I have been taking care of succulents, and I think these work best for me. It might not work for each and every succulent plant out there, but this is the basic framework or flow that I do whenever I repot, and all of them are giving me healthy results and healthy growth of my plants. I call them repotting secrets because nobody ever tells you about them to start. This is my tried and tested method of repotting, and it always proves to give my succulents a higher chance of survival from being uprooted from its original soil or from shipping. Secret number 1: trim, cut, and prune. It's basically removing all the dried leaves and activating the stem so that it will root faster once you plant it to your soil. Probably ask how far or which parts of it do you trim. This current plant, you'll see that it already has a dried end on the stem, so there's no need to cut that because it's very close to the stem that's intact. And then for the second one, this one is the one that you'll need to trim or remove. So you'll see what I'm doing here is you'll see the brown parts. These are the dried ones. You need to remove them so that you're opening the roots. You can use a cotton fiber so that you don't damage the farina or that dusty part of the plant. So just remove that. So you'll see there are so many dried leaves because the most of the sellers, well, specifically for Luntihan succulents, they air dry their Korean succulents before it gets shipped to ensure it won't rot during delivery. So here I'm just carefully trying to remove because since this is a cluster Naya Elf, that's the name of the succulent, it's really hard to get into the crevices of that plant for me to be able to remove the old leaves or the leaves that has dried up because it has been drinking from the bottom leaves. So there, just slowly try to get it out. So the ones that are really in the middle, I wasn't able to get them. At baka masira pa. So, if you'll notice, I'm only trying to remove most from the bottom. Hindi na nakita. Sorry, hindi ka na na-center. But, let me show you. There. I should have used tweezers, but okay, now this is the part where you cut. So the reason why I cut it because I don't see any pink fleshy part of the root ball. So I need to expose them. So earlier I mentioned don't cut the one that has calloused wound. The reason being is because this one has small roots, so that's fine if you expose them. But if it's like the whole stem, you will really need to, because there's such a big of an area that's exposed, you need to wait for it to callus or put a cinnamon or rooting powder so it's covered to ensure fungi or any bacteria doesn't come in through the stem. If you really want to cut it, but for me, I wouldn't I wouldn't touch it anymore since it's already dried anyway. That's fine. But for like those smaller roots, you can cut them just to expose the pink small tiny roots. That's fine. So you're activating the those tiny roots. So you'll see here, I'm just removing the excess, and then I'm leaving out, I'm like scraping it across my finger for this third plant, because I want to remove those dried roots so that it's not taking too much energy from the plant for it to root. Next. So this one is the iceberry that fell off from the cluster. So you'll see how dry that is. So ayan na yung example kung ano yung mga dapat tanggalin at yung mga dapat yung iiwan. So if it's like yellowish, mushy, it's best that you remove it from the stem. Especially this kind. It's black already. So just remove that. And you'll see how dried the stem is. So you just cut that part until you see that mushy opening. So there. So it's okay if you're cutting the stem, but make sure that the area is small, or make sure that your soil mix is fully dry, because if it's moist, then you'll just end up with a root or stem rot. Now this one is the iceberry that has super dried leaves. Most likely it has been uprooted from Korea already to the Philippines, and then it was received in the Philippines like that. It doesn't have the local soil anymore. So just remove this. Wag niyo akong gayahin. I wasn't too caring for this iceberry. Sobrang mas focused ako on removing the dried leaves that I removed each clump. How do you say that? I removed each rosette from the group. And you'll see here, I just keep trying to remove all the black dried leaves from the 3 clumps now. Initially, that's 6 or 5 in a cluster. So, wala na. Nasira ko na siya. But it's better because I want them to grow separately. So, since this is a late upload, it's already January 15. I have an update for this plant. It already has a bloom. Magugulat kayo, yung mas maliit yung may mas naunang nag-bloom. Meron na siyang little baby. But I think I want to cut it because masisira yung mother plant. So, ayan, tanggal lang ako ng tanggal, guys, until masira silang lahat. Joke. Hindi, until matanggal natin yung black leaves. Napaka-savage, shocks. Wag niyo akong tularan, pero ako talaga gusto kong tinatanggal sila sa cluster kasi for me, mas marami akong pieces. Char. Yan. Sinadya ko talagang tanggalin siya from the main stem. Yun ba yung tawag doon? From the main stem cluster. So, gusto ko talaga siyang paghiwalayin so that when I pot them, I can arrange them in the way that I want to. Kasi, single rosette yung piniplace ko rather than the whole clump na siksikan sila. So, I want them to grow really big. And I think the reason why this is super dry because the climate in Korea is really cold. Ayan, malapit na. 2 na lang. Step 1 pa lang tayo. I mean, secret number 1 pa lang. Pero stay tuned, guys. So, this is super important. The rest are really quick. Sa totoo lang, ito yung most overlooked step. The reason why ang dami ring nagkaka-root rot or some people would say that hindi pa tinutubuan kasi nag-dormant na yung plant, meaning natulog na yung plant kasi super dry niya. So it thinks that it's in a climate that it needs to protect itself. So from super cold and then nilagay sa super hot, obviously magdadry up siya. So it would retain the water kaya natutulog siya. So in this case, you'll see, natapos ko na pala. After how many years, natapos ko na paghiwa-hiwalayin yung clump or cluster. So, I am cutting it so that I have access to the fresh stem. So that it tells the plant that, hey, you need to root now. And wala kang karapatang matulog kasi December na, malamig naman. So, I mean, December at that time na nire-repot ko siya. So, it should adapt well. And I do have an update for this which I will post in another video specifically for the iceberry. Kasi, nag-bloom na siya. It really opened up its rosette already. So, thank you to the seller, Luntian Succulents. Ang healthy talaga ng plant na nakuha ko. So, wala pa akong namamatay from their batch. So, ayan. Nagka-cut ulit ako because I'd rather have the plant root on the current soil that I have rather than use its old roots. Unless talagang established na. So, there you go, guys. Ang dami kong natanggal. So, that's actually prone to bacteria or fungi. So, remove that. So, we have cleaned and tidied up our iceberry. And the next step would be the actual repotting. And on to secret number 3. Keyword is mesh tape and big-sized pumice. So, how do you cover the holes? Para naman hindi masayang yung soil nyo every time nag-water kayo. Of course, may butas dyan. So, you can use a mesh tape like this and then just cut it to cover the hole. The first layer will composed of, I'm using corn size so that it allows better drainage on your soil mix base. For secret number 4, use a gritty soil mix. This is a must, especially for succulents and cacti. The reason being is they can't stay in a moist soil for too long or the stem will rot. This soil mix is 70% pumice and 30% vermicast as the organic. If you don't have enough soil, one thing that you can invest on is sobrahan nyo yung pumice nyo. You can fill your pumice halfway, half of the pot, since hindi pa naman nagro-root. And then, afterwards, kung sobrang lalim ng pot nyo, pwede nyo siyang dayain para hindi ganun karami yung masayang na soil mix. So, in my case, pag bumibili ako, lagi kong sinusobrahan yung pumice ko. And then, starting from half of the pot and then towards the top, you can use your vermicast and pumice mixture. Also, remember that don't ever use a moist soil mix. So, if it just came from delivery, make sure to open the bag to let the air out and let the moisture out to dry it out. Then, you can start repotting. So I think you might need to wait for 3 days before you can fully pot and use the soil mix. Of course, this one's not a secret, but you have to arrange your succulents the way that you want them to grow in the long term. So example, baluktot yung stem. So if you plant it straight up, bumabaluktot siya. Best to support it with the soil mix. So even though if the stem is bent, the rosette is still at the center, so that when you're watering, the leaves doesn't touch the soil mix, so that they don't rot. Secret number 5, which is our last secret, I call this Osmo Star. It's your fertilizer and systemic insecticide. Don't forget this, as it's very helpful if you want chubby and fatty leaves on your succulent. You best get a slow release fertilizer like Osmocote, which is 14-14-14, and the Starkle G, which is a systemic insecticide. It protects the plants from root to its leaves from different types of bugs, may it be bumblebees, butterflies, aphids, spiders, mealybugs, ants, everything that your plant needs in terms of protection. Starkle G has it, and it's very affordable because you don't have to keep putting it. You can put it once in 3 months. So I haven't reapplied yet. I think I applied it last December, so I'll be reapplying it most likely March. Yeah, you can extend it as long as you don't see any bites, then your plants are healthy and fine. So make sure to add it. Whether to apply it, you can just put a small amount on the topsoil, on the mid soil, or at the bottom. It's up to you. It will still be absorbed by the plant during the time of your watering. So remember, it will only be absorbed by the plant once you have watered the plant. So that's it. Those are our 5 top secrets. If I get any more, and as I discover it through my succulent journey, I'll definitely share it in another video. But these are the most overlooked ones. So it's best to share them with you guys, especially for those who are new to taking care of succulents. Hope you have learned, and I hope that you apply it. It will definitely give a higher chance of survival rate to your plants. So just remember that it might not work for all depending on the current health of the plant already. I hope that these top 5 secrets help you grow your succulents into a healthier one. Please like and subscribe, and comment down below if you have other secrets in repotting that you'd like to add, and let me know what works for you and what doesn't. Thank you. See you in our next video. Peace out.